Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Tim McCone. A changing of the guard in Worcester. Deputy Chief Steve Sargent is appointed Worcester's new police chief. City Manager Ed Augustus made the announcement Thursday afternoon. Sargent is a lifelong resident of the city and has 3 decades of experience. Tonight, we caught up with Mayor Joseph Petty and got his reaction on the selection.
I think it's a good move by the city manager. I've known Steve for 19 years now when I first became a city councilor, and very dedicated. He's been working the neighborhoods. He was head of the gang unit operations. He knows how the police department's run, and he had a great role model with Chief Jim. So I expect great things from him. I expect him to keep the tradition up and work pretty hard. He's a good person.
Surrounding police departments sending out congratulations to Sargent over social media. The Uxbridge Police Department Facebook page, they wrote, they would like to congratulate Chief Stephen M. Sargent on his promotion today. The city of Worcester is in very capable hands, and we wish you well as you lead the agency moving forward. And on Twitter, Auburn Police tweeting out, congratulations, Chief Sargent. We look forward to working with WPD under your leadership. Brittany Schaefer has more on the selection of Worcester's new chief.
We're appointing Steve Sargent, who's one of our current deputy chiefs, as the next police chief of the city of Worcester.
Deputy Chief Stephen Sargent has been a member of the Worcester Police Department for more than 30 years and is a lifelong Worcester resident.
He's well-known, well-liked, and well-respected, so I think he's an outstanding choice. He's an all-around Worcester guy.
When you get a home run and somebody is from Worcester, it's a win-win, and the Steve Sargent represents Worcester.
I think it's critical, not only that he knows this community, he's clearly committed to this community. He was raised here himself. He raised his family here.
City Manager Ed Augustus selected the new Worcester chief. He says Sargent's knowledge of the Worcester Police Department set him apart.
He literally served in every rank within the police department and served in nearly every major division within the police department. So he was a patrolman, he was in the detective unit, the gang unit, the vice squad.
As the deputy chief in charge of operations, Sargent currently oversees a third of the department.
Day-to-day business of the police department. When you call 911 and somebody pulls up, or if you see a foot patrol in your neighborhood, or somebody who's at a local community policing event, neighborhood crime watch, that person works for Steve Sargent.
I think by and large what you'll see with Chief Sargent is a lot of the policies that have been in place, they've worked well, so why change them?
He's ready to go, and he's ready to move up, and I can't think of a better choice. He's great.
Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
Following a public hearing Thursday night, the Worcester Redevelopment Authority votes 3-0 to move the Worcester Revitalization Plan forward. The plan, which has been developed over the last year and is aimed at creating a strong identity for downtown Worcester and the surrounding areas. The plan identifies 24 properties in the city that have seen a supposed lack of investment. The option for those properties range from rehabbing the structures to demolition. Tonight, local politicians spoke. The revitalization plan was explained in depth, and the public was given an opportunity to speak. The plan is not yet finalized and will need approval from the City Council and the State Executive Office of Housing and Economic Development. Controversy tonight in Dudley surrounding a proposed cemetery. The Islamic Society of Greater Worcester wants to build a cemetery for Muslims in the town. Brian Burnell is in Dudley tonight and has much more on this story.
This abandoned farm in Dudley, Massachusetts is the proposed site of an Islamic cemetery. The Islamic Society of Greater Worcester wants to buy the land and put in the burying ground because their small cemetery in Connecticut is far away and it's filling up. People who live near the Dudley property, though, say this is not the place for it. They're concerned about, among other things, their wells being contaminated.
In Walpole, they recommended 250 meters from any existing well you can put your cemetery. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for proper distance and everything else. And if I get 250 meters and everybody gets 250 meters, they can have the cemetery.
Well, I don't necessarily agree with them having a cemetery.
That's Richard Raymond. His property overlooks the site. He says traffic is another issue. The road just too narrow.
Putting a cemetery there, any cemetery, would be a concern. It's a major concern.
And you know this is going to be framed by a lot of people as, oh, they just don't want an Islamic cemetery there.
Yes, we've already been confronted with that, and we think it's been unfair, and we chose not to respond to that because that just perpetuates, an argument. It has nothing to do with religion.
But an attorney for the Islamic Society says none of those concerns is valid.
We believe it's all a red herring. We believe there's no just reason to deny, for environmental or moral grounds, a cemetery.
The town is moving forward, though. The Zoning Board of Appeals may deny the application, and there's also a proposal that the town buy the land so the Islamic Society can't.
The Attorney General's office announcing today a father and son from Charlton have been indicted in connection with operating illegal waste facilities in Worcester and Oxford. 67-year-old Ron Boussier is the president of the Oxford-based Patriots Environmental Corporation. His 43-year-old son, Kurt Boussier, is the senior manager for the corporation. The Attorney General's office says an investigation was launched back in 2013 after they received a tip regarding numerous alleged environmental violations. It is alleged that the Boussiers did not have the required state approvals when they allowed asbestos-containing waste material to be stored at the Worcester facility and that they stored hazardous waste oil at the Oxford facility without the required license. The pair will be arraigned in Worcester Superior Court at a later date. A psych ward patient at UMass Memorial Medical Center is sentenced to life behind bars without the possibility of parole for killing a fellow patient 3 years ago. Aldo Dunphy of Spencer was found guilty of first-degree murder for brutally attacking Ratina Batari inside his room in November of 2013. Batari, a refugee from Bhutan, died 2 days later. Dunphy's lawyer has filed a motion to have the verdict reduced to second-degree murder. A second-degree murder conviction also carries a life sentence, but with the possibility of parole in 15 years. A driver is lucky to be alive after the vehicle they were driving burst into flames in Shrewsbury. This happened in the area of Main and Holden Streets around 7:15 Thursday morning. The driver managed to escape without injury. Firefighters were able to extinguish the flames in less than 30 minutes. The fire is believed to have started in the bed of the truck where materials were being transported to a new residence. A more than 100-year-old building in Worcester has been used for many different purposes. Now it's being converted into off-campus housing for college students. Our Olivia Lemon took a tour of the facility and has more.
It was once a building where train carts were manufactured. Now it's a place where college students can live. The Osgood Bradley building is being refurbished into student housing.
When we first started looking at it, it was pretty much an empty building.
Mary Schaefer and her husband Rick bought the more than 100-year-old building about a year ago. The couple own other student housing complexes.
We were actually going through zoning in another city in Massachusetts, and there was an attorney sitting in the back row, and when we were finished, he said to my husband, "We need to talk to you." And he said, "You got to come to Worcester. They need you there. They don't have anything like this."
Thursday, Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito and other state officials got a tour of the Edge at Union Station Apartments.
It's really a revitalization project that we in the state government were happy to invest in through our housing development incentive program, and the investment of those tax credits really helped the developers' private dollars come in and make this possible.
Lieutenant Governor Polito says having more space for students to live in Worcester will be positive for the economy. She says having a nice place for them to live while in college will hopefully make them want to stay in the city after they graduate.
All of these rooms are very comfortable for students. They all have washers and dryers and kitchens and space for storage that it's quite nice compared to the dorms that I went to as a kid.
There are 81 units and 251 beds in the building. Schaefer says she expects the project to be complete by June.
I think we're in a great location. I think we personally walk to the restaurants from here, and I think it will be perfect for a lot of the kids because they really can walk to a lot of the places where they would go.
Olivia Lemon, Worcester News Tonight.
Thousands of students across New England graduate this month from college. Here in Central Mass, college students are taking final exams and preparing for graduation. Some of them are just days away from getting that college degree. Artie Madison has a look at how college graduation impacts the Worcester area.
It's going to be an emotional weekend for Molly Sweeney.
Yeah, I think I'm going to miss the people the most about the college.
She'll be among hundreds of students graduating from Assumption College this weekend at the DCU Center. one of the first of Worcester's colleges and universities holding graduation ceremonies this month. Next to Clark University, Annie's Clark Brunch was packed with students preparing for finals. The staff says once finals are over, their customer base gets cut in half.
They say, we'll see you next year. And I'm like, guys, it's only 2 months. Don't worry. It's not going to be that long. You'll come back and everything will be great.
Clark's graduation is in late May. Worcester State and WPI are next week, meaning come this time next month, Worcester will look a lot different with not as many college students.
It was definitely a lot quieter. There wasn't as much traffic on Salisbury Street.
Scheduled to speak at Worcester State's graduation, the lieutenant governor wants to impress upon the graduating class not to go too far for that first job.
I hope that these students continue to live in this area, to grow their careers and their families. And I'm very excited to share that message with them and to just be part of a day that will be with families.
For now, Sweeney says she needs to get through graduation first before tackling job prospects.
No, they usually do that. It will be very exciting to celebrate 4 years of hard work and really just the triumph of crossing the finish line of college.
Andy Madison, Worcester News Tonight.
Today is Cinco de Mayo, a day celebrated with Mexican food and, of course, drinks. Many people doing just that in the city tonight. Here is a look at mezcal earlier this evening. Now, the day originates from the Mexican army defeating the French on May 5th, 1862. Mexican Americans we spoke with today say the day has developed into more of an American holiday. However, with presidential candidate Donald Trump's controversial remarks about Mexicans, they say this year it is important their Mexican culture is appreciated and celebrated.
We're able to celebrate something in our history. It just brings everyone together. It doesn't matter, if your race, color, anything. It's like we just get together.